What's going on, everyone? Welcome to our Fitzy Friday here. I'm John Fitzgerald, one of the personal trainers here at the Upper Valley Aquatic Center, and thanks for tagging along. And like always, go ahead, like, subscribe, and see what's out there, see what's going on, and what we can kind of chit chat about. So, welcome to Friday, and this segment basically is kind of chit chatting about what is really going on in the fitness industry, kind of our world, things that we hear about on the on the gym floor while we're training, or kind of questions that we get asked throughout, our sessions and things like that. So, we kind of covered a wide variety of things so far in the last several Fridays. So, like always, we'll keep going on. And if you guys got anything that you want to chit chat about, anything you want to, kind of bring up questions about, feel free to go ahead. And if you got anyone else that are interested in kind of learning some of the stuff that we hear about, like always, go ahead and share, and that way we can kind of chit chat and get going. So today we're going to talk about, it's kind of the last thing that kind of got brought up on the floor was, like how much is too much, or, kind of like how you build certain type of programs, and, like where your rest is and how you recover from kind of what you're doing. So, kind of chit chatting about, one program that I'm running. It's a 4-day, right? And so, it's the population is in the senior. So right now we're kind of working on certain type of exercises, right? So, twice a week we work on kind of strengthening, some mobility, stuff like that. And then, the other kind of day, like we kind of bounce back around with some balance training, some, kind of some neurological stuff, we try to do stretching, things. So it's kind of like a wide variety of things we want to do. And, it's kind of like, hey, when should you rest? When should you not rest? How many times a week should you train a certain body part? Like some people are like, oh, I train bodies every single day, right? You want to get bigger, you want to have that muscle growth, right? Things like that. Or, some people want to get a bigger butt, right? So they're just going to train glutes nonstop, right? So it's kind of where this little topic kind of got brought up, and about, is there such a thing as too much, right? So, ideally, like really training a body part more than 2 to 3 times a week, really, it can start to backfire on you, so you could really start approaching that spot to where it's actually, you're going to lose progress, right? Does that make sense? So, if you think about, the body needs rest, right? So it needs time to recover. It needs time to repair. And if you're going to keep training it, right, it's a stress, right? If you think about, say, picture you're not working out or anything like this, just everyday life, right? And life is just stressful. Your job's stressful, your home life's stressful, right? You just never get a good night's sleep. You just don't eat right. You don't feel right, right? So take that, right, and how your body feels from just that, right? That the stressor itself, it's not, a lifting weight type of stress, right? But it's another form of stress, right, that we have to deal with every single day. And you're just completely like exhausted, right? You might not sleep well, you might get headaches, you might get sick, right? So kind of take that little way as like, when you take a vacation, do you feel better? Feel worse? Do you need a vacation for your vacation? So basically what we want, kind of focus on is where my recovery really is coming from after a session, right? So say you train, a certain body part 2 or 3 times a week, right? Which is pretty good, right? That's, for some, that's hard, right? It's hard to get in the gym, say 3 to 4 times a week, right? So if you're able to hit the gym 2 to 3 times a week, like, good on you. Like, that's awesome. Like, you got your nice little routine. That's great, right? So, but you're adding stress to your body, right? You're doing, like your muscles are going under, your body is going under, like the whole thing, the whole system, right? Your body's a system, right? Needs to be able to recover from that, right? So kind of thinking, like you don't do legs Monday and Tuesday, right? You need a day at least to allow for some sort of repair and some sort of recovery. All right. And if you're not sleeping, if you're not eating, right, those make recovery take that much longer, right? So, going back on is, especially as you get older, it's going to take a little longer for you to maybe get back to normal after a hard training session, right? So, it's not like in college where, you could lift really hard and, next day you're like, all right, I'm kind of feeling it. And then, like that's on Monday. Tuesday, you're kind of resting, you do something. But Wednesday, you're able to do it again, right? Like your body, you're younger, you're able to bounce back a lot faster. As you get older, you got a job, you got kids, you got a family, you got a house, you got, like everything starts to add up, and then you throw a hard training session in, and it's just more and more that your body has to try to handle, and it makes it that much harder to recover, right? So, ideally, we're looking, train 2 to 3 times a week, right, for that certain body part, right? That's ideal. That gives you a great amount of time to be able to recover in between each session, right? And about so, and that's great for maximum growth. Like once you start hitting the 4 or 5, you're gonna have to, those are probably where your your bodybuilders or your IFBBs are kind of getting involved in, but they're training for a certain reason, right? They have a certain diet, they have a certain like plan that they have to go to allow for what they need, right? So, everyday people, that aren't into doing anything like that, right? We got to take a look at, just because we're trainers doesn't necessarily mean like we work out all the time also. Like, there's some days to where, our day is busy and last place we want to be is a gym, right? So, like take it, personally for me this week, like I haven't really done a whole lot, right? It's been a pretty interesting week for me, and I just came off a different program, and I'm kind of just like in a phase where I got some stuff I need to do. I got some work I got to do. I got some stuff around the house I have to accomplish, right? And I'm kind of taking a step back from a little training program and focusing on something else for right now. And that's what happens. That's life, right? So, right now I feel pretty good, right? And then when I come back, I'll feel just as good. But just because we work in a gym doesn't mean we train hours and we do all this stuff. Like we're just like the clients that we're with. Like some of my clients, they have families, they got jobs. Like I'm in the same boat with them, right? Like I'm just because this is my job doesn't mean it's not a stress, right? And doesn't mean my body can't recover from a work day. Just like the people I'm training, right? Like, they work, say, a 7 to 3 job, right? And then they're going to try to come in and train. Like, we know how tough that is because if we're going to work, say, a 5, 6, 7 hour day and then we try to train afterwards, hey, we're tired too. So it's like, we kind of understand, and that's why we're able to like really like, hey, like I've tried this, it works for me. You want to play around with it? Are you interested? So we can kind of speak from maybe more personal, like, I got kids. I understand what it's like to go home. House is a mess. Kids want to be all over you. You don't want to work out. You want to hang out. You want to play with them, right? So, or you got after school activities you got to do, So it's kind of, like where you got to understand this is what is important to where you are right now, right? So you want to lift a couple times a week, right? To stay healthy, which is great, which is perfect, right? And you're going to get that recovery. You're going to feel great. You'll get, and then based off of what your goals are will really dictate what you want, right? So you want, say, muscle growth, some strength, like 2 to 3 times a week is really all you got to hit for that muscle group, and you can kind of design your plan to where, it's not just like, say, chest and tries just on Monday, right? Like, you won't see maybe the changes you want if you only do it once a week. You might see something at the start of it, but If you're looking for some real change, maybe muscle growth, some strength like that, like you're probably going to have to add it into another day for the week, right? 2 days would be ideal for that. If you're just looking for like a maintenance phase or something, or you're kind of content the way you look and you're just kind of coming in and you want to hit that, like that would work for you fine. As long as you're happy with what your results are seeing and you're happy with the program, then that's what you got to do, right? But so typically what we kind of do is 2 or 3 times for each body part. Kind of gives you a lot of room to play, right? A lot of room to be able to change things up and kind of experiment, throw some new exercises in. Maybe find something that you like. Maybe this exercise you didn't really like, and you're able to do, something different. Like maybe, lateral raises just doesn't feel right. Well, let's find another shoulder exercise. Like overhead presses doesn't always work for everyone, right? If you got some issues with your shoulder, like, all right, well, an overhead press might not be ideal. So you're able to find maybe something on the cables, maybe something, with a kettlebell, like maybe, so those are things that you're able to kind of, play around with and, kind of experiment to see what works, for where your body is. And then you allow that recovery, say you did shoulders on Monday and, Tuesday, you didn't really like the way it felt. And, you just come back on like Thursday or something, or a Wednesday, give yourself a day or two and, try to figure out, was it the overhead? Was it the lateral? Was it, like, what did I do that kind of causes it? Was I unstable on, say, like a press or something, right? So allowing you at least a day to recover will help maybe answer some of the questions that you're just like, and I don't feel great. So, you don't want to do squats Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? You're never going to be able to get your body to repair itself to hit where you want to be with it, right? So if your goal is to get a bigger squat, well, you're going to have to rest somewhere to allow the muscles to repair themselves from the workout you just did, right? And that's where your growth will come from, is learning that recovery and repair aspect of it, not I need to work harder, right? So that's a little bit kind of, sums up kind of how we can do it. It's not just about sets and reps that we do here. It is kind of, there's a little bit more to it. You kind of got to know the body that, hey, you can't always put a stress on it every single day and expect to get your results, right? So, you got to have some type of rest, whether it's a day off, a day in between, you have to rest in between your sets, right? Certain rest periods dictate certain things that you're trying to do. So when you're lifting heavier, you have a little longer rest period, so it's things like that you gotta kind of understand to allow your body to be able to adapt and repair. So, give yourself, a little bit of a breather, right? Take that time in between days to, really let your body kind of tell you what's working, what isn't working. And, you'll probably see your progress faster once you start maybe honing in on what your body's trying to tell you. And, it'll make things go a lot easier for you. So, I hope that kind of sums up a little bit about what's too much, what maybe is not enough. Ideally 2 to 3 times a week is where, if you want change, that's where you're going to want to hit for, each muscle group. So I'm talking like, chest 2 to 3 times, back 2 to 3 times. Like, so it's not, oh, I just work out 2 to 3 times a week. It's if you want, muscle growth or anything like that, like you want to look bigger, for you guys or whatever, right? Build muscle, 2 to 3 times per muscle group is what we're talking about. So, your total body workouts at least 2 times, 2 times a week, based off of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, and things like that. So I hope that, you guys were able to get a little bit of background and kind of things that, we kind of take into consideration when we're trying to build programs for people. And, hopefully that helps, maybe with your program, if you're not working with anyone, like there's a lot of information out there. So, hopefully that kind of covers a little bit for you. And, like always, if you're ever here in the Upper Valley, stop on into the Aquatic Center and, to chat with us, see what works for you, see what we got going on here. We got a lot of exciting things that are always happening here. So, and, like always, go ahead, like, subscribe, and see what kind of, chatter that we can get and see what else is out there that's going on. If you guys got any questions, we can always bring something up and we can kind of chit chat and, share what's going on. So it's Friday. I hope you guys got through your work week. I hope it wasn't too painful, and I hope you have a really great weekend. Up here, up in the north, it looks like it's going to be a decent one for us. So, it's fair season, so a lot of things going on, and I hope that you all get to enjoy a nice, fun, relaxing weekend, and we'll come back and hopefully good work week for next week. All right. If you all enjoy, don't forget, like, subscribe, and if you're ever in the valley, come hit us up. All right, have a good one.